Hello everyone and welcome to English 1510, Composition 1 at Oakland Community College. The first section of the course schedule and first drop boxes are now open. Be sure to review the course schedule and welcome to 1510 announcements below along with the drop boxes for the week 1 assignments. Drop boxes are on the right side of the home page over here under upcoming events. Follow all instructions below and those in the drop boxes to complete the work for week 1, including familiarizing yourself with this platform and its contents. This short video that you're listening to now, I'm probably going to post it before this, but usually by 6 p.m. on the Mondays. Sometimes on the Sundays I have them up. Usually, if nothing has changed, it's usually right along that mid-timeline on the Mondays. The setup here, though, guys, is pretty straightforward. For week 1, you're getting familiar with this course. Your 3 things that are due by this weekend are fairly simple and straightforward to complete. The first one is the class introductions and the academic honesty form and the FERPA form. These 2 down here are simple little print your name, sign, and date and send back into me in this Dropbox. Everything that you complete this semester will either be completed in a discussion board up here at the top or put into one of these drop boxes on the home page. This one, you just need to click on this link, download the academic honesty form, open it up when it's ready to open here. Open it up and then make sure that you fill the piece out. Put your course and term. Read through it, make sure you understand and agree. Print your name here, the date, and then signature below. You can scan this in, or you can take a picture of it and put it into the Dropbox. Submissions are fairly straightforward. In the Dropboxes, you click on the tab at the bottom, come down to add a file just like you're working through an email. Now, everyone is supposed to know this in compliance with the pre-requirements for taking an asynchronous online course. But they are pretty straightforward in all of these. It's adding a file just like you're doing an email attachment. You'll upload from your computer source, whatever drive you're picking, and then you will upload that file and add it in. That will show up as a submission, and you will also get a confirmation email sent to you. Now, everything, as I said, will be completed through the drop boxes themselves or the discussion board. The first week includes both, 2 things that go in drop boxes and 1 that gets posted in a discussion board. This discussion board is already started. I have my announcement here. You can start a thread now and complete your own so that your classmates and I can get to know you. The opening portion for week 1. We have an instructional video here. Now, there will not be one of these overview videos every week. Most weeks' instructional videos will include the pieces that are in the Dropbox component for assignments. Throughout the term, you can refer to the course schedule that is now posted down here. I'm going to go back up there to those preterm announcements that are now posted for the week 1. Course schedule and tentative plan of work. Your class is set up in 3 different 4-week sections, each that launch near the end of the preceding one. So here you have weeks 1, 2, first week, second week, third week, and fourth week. You have the readings that are posted along with whatever the writing is for the week. This week including just those academic honesty forms and the FERPA forms, and then the discussion board piece so that we can start opening this class up with both some forms that we get some compliance there and understand our different things about the regulation of transferring information and sharing information, and then the discussion board so we just get familiar. Now, most of these readings in week 1 are going to be pretty straightforward and probably review for a lot of students. And I have the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th editions posted here. So that's the only, so far I think everyone in the class has gotten the 3rd and 4th. I've had a few students contact me about the 2nd, but not as many. Make sure that you guys read through these each week. They're pretty straightforward and simple to follow. The next week, the memoir, summary, and outline. Once you accomplish the readings for the week, you'll understand the main components there. And there's also an announcement that states after these writing assignments begin, you'll start to have overlaps where you're finishing a draft while starting a summary and outline for the next piece. Excuse me. That's going to be pretty typical throughout the term, especially in shortened semesters like a 12 or an 8-week section like you have. So anything that changes on this, you guys will get notified beforehand. Typically, there are not many changes in an async course like this, but just note that they can. The schedule's tentative because it is subject to change. I would notify you guys right away if it did. And once the writing assignments or submissions are underway, some of them might overlap with pre-writings and drafts, as I said. Make sure that you have, if you have not already done so, make sure that you review this entire Welcome to English 1510 announcement. Don't worry about the number that's listed here. If I didn't say so before at the opening of this, I do have several async courses that are running. So if I do an announcement piece or instructional for some of the writing components, it's often used for both. Just note that if ever mentions a Zoom in one of the instructional pieces, that's not for your class. I note that in the Dropboxes as well. So beginning the first contents, it tells you guys what you're expected to do in week 1, including reviewing syllabus and anything that's in the content file folder for those, familiarizing yourself with the course itself, having an understanding of the code of conduct, reviewing any and all drop boxes and assignment criteria. This, as I said, is just the FERPA forms and the academic honesty and the discussion board. This is asynchronous. There are no required Zooms. Make sure you read through that message. I may have some that I post that are optional, that I actually put up that are optional that have to do with remediation. Again, those would be optional. Everyone must be using Microsoft Word or equivalent and possess a knowledge to export as Word if you're choosing to use something else. Our system does not guarantee compatibility with anything else. That's why that was sent out in the pre-term as well. The textbook information, I think it was pretty straightforward with those. My main aim with any of these is that students pay as little for these textbooks as possible. But I do think it's important for a lot of students to actually have one in hand. I still have a lot of students that request that over top of having a digital one. There is a digital one available, as most of you saw, if that's what you prefer. Most of my students still ask for a hard copy of some kind. So I did have students able to find the second edition this term for around $4 plus shipping, so a little lower than what we ended up having here. For those of you who had to pay more, I know they go up as high as $60, $70 for used copies. For the semesters go on, but that's why I try and send those out a few weeks before the class starts. Emails must come from student OCC email accounts. Please make sure you read through those and let me know who you are and from what course. Start a new email too. Don't send me one off of a thread. Threads get buried quite often. Make sure that you've reviewed this tentative course schedule plan of work. Down here at the bottom, there's some instructional links that are for supplementals throughout the term. You can review these at your own leisure as well. Some of the things like the general to specific intro, for particularly starting off with the memoir and rhetorical essay. You guys might want to review those if you're not familiar with an intro paragraph that's referred to in that way, but most students have probably already done an intro like that one or something similar. Then there are other pieces that will just help you throughout the term, and I will refer to some of these at different times. Coordination and subordination. You're in a 1510 level, so basic punctuation mechanics, style, structure, those kind of things are expected of you prior to the term. And now coordination and subordination, you're dealing with combining independent and dependent clauses, or independent and independent clauses. There's an overview and then coordination, subordination, short videos that are included there if you need a refresher. Just remember that those are things that I will mark down for at the sentence level, including any of the basics. I include some of these for review, like parts of speech and basic sentence structure for anybody who needs that. But just note that by 15, 10, and 20, you're expected to have those things pretty well in hand. The more severe grammatical and punctuation style errors are on your writing, the more you'll get marked down for those. Hopefully, we're marking mostly content this term. As I said, the pieces that are posted up here, I post typically a couple weeks in advance for these. It won't always include everything that's for the entirety of the course section, depending on how far along we are, particularly when we get to reports and then research assignments and argumentation. Near the end, you're going to have some parts where I only have 2 weeks loaded up here, or a week and a half, because of how much volume you guys are working with at the time. But if we look at just this as an example, you'll see that the starting piece, your memoir summary outline, it includes an instructional video. It mentions Zoom once or twice in there. Just note that's not used for the asynchronous. Everything else is the same. Gives you a full breakdown of the assignment instructions with some examples, some sample scenarios, as well as a sample essay written by another student. There are a couple other sample breakdowns, including the one here in the Dropbox, a couple more on assignment sheets, And then down here on the rubric, there's a minimal breakdown on the graphic organizer, and then student example. The student example also includes labeling. So in addition to it being a completed and well-written memoir, there are still a couple of errors, but it's a well-written memoir that meets all the criteria. In addition to following the assignment guidelines on the rubric and meeting the criteria on the summary outline, you'll see that I include this because after giving you guys the completed memoir, and I think there are one or two grammatical mistakes that I didn't fix from the student's paper. It's from a prior term that I got approval from the student to use. Then the second drafting of it down here shows you the same exact story, which is a successful memoir that includes labeling for each one of the component pieces that are asked for on your rubric and in the summary outline that you're doing next week. So rubric pieces here, and the summary outline is here. What you need to remember with the summary outline is your title goes up here. You can remove that line and put in your title. Your summary of your memoir goes here, and then down here there should be at least a full sentence for each one of these categories. The general statement, the specific, your topic, and then your lead-in thesis. A lead-in thesis as opposed to a thesis that states exactly what the essay is about, making a claim statement. This is a lead-in that will foreshadow your complication. So you'll understand that once you get through that reading in that chapter and review that Dropbox instructional video. In each one of these pieces, you'll have an outline like this that you have to fill out for each assignment. There are sample topic sentences and sometimes support details. Please make sure you remember to remove those, and anytime you're including details in here, these details would be plot points of your story written in at least one full sentence for each that take me from your topic sentence into the complication here at the end. So for instance, in this opening piece, you would have the topic sentence, 5 details, and the conclusion statement, which would be the complication. Same will go for the rest of the bodies. A topic, remove the sample topic that I have from the prior student, put your details in here, remove the impasse, put yours in. Same with the conclusion or resolution paragraph, resolving the complication for 3. And then in the end here, this is restated in those instructions. You're going to give what you learned from your story and then a moral statement. The moral of the story was, 1 in the hand is worth 2 in the bush, something along those lines. But you can reverse these as well, as you'll see in some of the examples. But in any event, as long as they're both covered. Okay. So those instructions are all included with that assignment. This is just an example of what you'll be going through per week on some of these. If you have questions about these, again, the best thing to do is either I do have a messaging system in here that you can send me messages through, or send me a fresh email through OCC email that you start and have the issue in the subject line and those kinds of things. All right. I am going to sign off now, and again, there won't be one of these reviewing things every week. Most of the time you'll have an instructional piece here that gives you an overview for the week, and the video instructions, when they're included, are included in the Dropbox pieces. Everything will be submitted through a Dropbox, or it will be in discussion board. Make sure you review your content files, anything else under the other tools of student services you need to be familiar with, along with the grades that will be broken down according to the assignment components you have, and then the assignments can also be found here. The ones that are listed over there. As they pop up, they'll also come up in your assignments. All right? So happy writing. I look forward to hearing from everybody in the discussion board and getting those forms. Good luck this term, and if you have any questions about those things, again, message me here or send me a message via the email.